everybody, and happy Wednesday. Glad to see you all here. Hey, Barb from Illinois, how you doing? Great seeing you. Hey, Sandy, all the way from San Diego. Sandy from San Diego, how's it doing out there? How's the weather? San Diego's got to be beautiful this time of year. A little bit warmer than when it is here. Hopefully there's no snow out there. Great seeing you all, guys. This is fabulous. I love connecting with you all. And this is another one of the Spirits Beside Us live broadcasts. And I love connecting with you and discussing everything about spirit and everything about spirituality and about how we can learn more about spirit and how we are spirit and the spirits all around us. And that's what's always so beautiful about talking about this and engaging with this. So if you've got questions about spirit, if you've got questions about your own spirituality, how to connect, what are spirit guides, etc., let me know. And I see KJ. Hey, KJ from Charlotte. How you doing? Love seeing you. Great see you again. And Carrie, all the way from Ontario, Canada. Awesome. Love seeing you guys. Let me know where you're from. It's great to see you. And Carrie, is it kind of cold up in Canada? How far north are you in Canada right now? It's I would think it's probably pretty cold up there, but what do I know? That's just me, right? So as far as today, I just wanted to kind of let you know what we're going to be talking about. As you know, this is Spirits Beside Us Live, and it's really where we all talk about spirituality, and it's all about everything that we're all about because we are spirit. And if you didn't know, or if this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Chris Lippincott. I'm an international spiritual medium, best-selling author. I'm also a spiritual teacher. So I also help people on their spiritual journey. I help people undergo their spiritual growth, their expansion, learn to connect. Some people like to become mediums. They like to connect spirit for other people. So it's a whole host of things. So I love doing that. And that's really, my story. And I came from the regular corporate world, had a beautiful spiritual awakening, and ever since I've been, on my spiritual path, and it's really been fabulous. And I really want to get that path out to everybody else because it's such a true change in perspective. You really have an amazing different look at reality. So it's really fabulous. So that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. As you know, today, one of the things we'll be talking about is all about spirit guides. This is February, so this is the month we'll be talking about spirit guides. And that's one of the things that's so important. This is the spirit guide month. February is our spirit guide month. So today we're going to be talking about what spirit guides are, how do we know they're around, who are they, where do they come from, what's a spirit guide in the first place, right? Is Dad a spirit guide? Let's go find out. So that's really sort of the topic for today. Oh, and I see Claire from Scotland. Hey, Claire, how you doing? Great seeing you again. Love connecting with you again. Glad you could stay up. It's got to be about 10:30 out there, so you're a dedicated listener. Love it. Fabulous. So let's just dive right in, shall we? I mean, this is what this is all about. What is a spirit guide in the first place, right? Well, spirit guides are highly evolved souls. They've been around for many, many lifetimes. It's said that we live upwards of 1,000 lifetimes. So a spirit guide is a very highly evolved soul who has undergone so many incarnations that they no longer feel the need or inclination to incarnate anymore. So this is a person who is farther along that path, if you will, right? This is a person who, because they've incarnated so many times, they know all about life's hardships and difficulties. They know the pain of physical existence. They've been around the block a lot more than we have. And as a result, they know the pain and difficulty of human existence because it takes one to know one, right? So if it's a person who's gone through all the trials and tribulations of every different possible or conceivable lifetime, they've got a pretty good handle on what it's like to be human. And so what they do is they take all that experience and they turn around and they try to help us. That's really their purpose. So these are people that have been around the block many times. And it's not that they're so great. It's not that they're so phenomenal. It's just that they're farther along the path. In fact, once in a trance circle, I remember one guide coming along and telling us it wasn't, he said something along the lines of, I'm not any better than you are. I'm just farther along the road. And I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense, right? Based on what we just learned. So that's really kind of what it is. And, spirit guides, as I mentioned, they're highly evolved, but they're at a point where they just don't need to incarnate anymore. Their spiritual evolution has reached a point where they're not going to grow by living, in the physical anymore. They're going to grow through spiritual evolution in the non-physical by helping others, right? They're at a point where they're looking to help others from a spiritual perspective, not from a physical perspective, but from a spiritual perspective. So it's a very different perspective, if you'll excuse the pun, right? I love that word, perspective. And so they're coming to us to help us. And the more that spirit guides help us, the more that we grow, the more they grow. So they have a very vested interest in our growth. It's spirits, you could say there's a parallel growth, right, between spirits' growth and our growth. The more we get out of it, the more they get out of it. And what's interesting is that guides are actually guided by higher level guides themselves. So it just becomes like this layer of guides who are more and more and more evolved. So there's a whole, I don't want to call it bureaucracy, that sounds kind of bad, but there's definitely a superiority of each level guides is trying to help the one below it, right? So that's kind of a concept. And because spirit guides work is so important, right? They've got to be heavily trained. This is something where they undergo, I don't know exactly the length of time, but I know they undergo intense training. Because think about it. This is something that you're working with somebody's life. It really requires you to know what you're talking about and to know what you're doing. So it requires incredible training, especially because spirit guides, the main spirit guides, are going to be there for multiple lifetimes, right? They follow us multiple lifetimes on as far as Earth time. And so what we notice is that the same spirit guides are going to be with us through different lifetimes. And that's why the old question of, is my soulmate a spirit guide? Is my father a soul guide, spirit guide? Is my grandfather or whatever, right? Is my family member a spirit guide? And the answer is no. For one of the reasons we were talking about just before, because spirit guides have had so many incarnations, they've stopped incarnating. They're at that point where it's just no longer needed. So they're that much farther beyond us, and they're also highly trained. So they're much more evolved. They're much more farther along the path. So it's not going to be part of our family member. It's not going to be part of our soul group, right? Because we all move in a group of souls, whereas the spirit guides are on the outer part of the soul group looking in, trying to help all of us, right? So that's kind of one way to look at it. But these are just higher level spirits who are trying to help us. And they are being guided by higher level guides themselves. So that's why I was getting to that point of every guide has sort of a supervisor, if you want to call it. No other word I can think of. Each guide has a higher level guide who's working with them. And that higher level guide has an even higher level guide who's working with them, and so on, and so on, and so on. So you can see that there's this definite hierarchy of more and more evolved guides that keep on getting higher and higher and higher, so that the most experienced teaches the one below it, teaches the one below that, teaches the one below that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these are all the things that we are all dealing with. These are all the things that we're all trying to understand, that all of these guides have all of this incredible experience, because it's not only their own experience, but it's also all of the experience of people who are below them, right? So that's what's so special about that. And one of the things, if we are talking about all these different guides, right? one of the things to consider is the fact that it's not just one guide that you have. You have an entire, what I'll refer to as a spirit team. You've got a group of inner guides. It's got both a group of inner guides and a band of outer guides. The inner band, if you want to call it that, is really your group of primary guides, anywhere from 5 to 7 guides that you're going to be working with frequently. As you are evolving yourself, some of those guides may begin to no longer be needed. You may evolve to a point where somebody else steps in because you've evolved to a higher point, even in this one lifetime, and then you start to work with other higher level guides. But most of the time, you're going to stick with a group of inner band, inner spirits, right? And those are your primary guides, anywhere from 5 to 7 guides. Then you've got that outer band of spirit guides that I refer to as quote unquote subcontractors, right? They're the specialist guys. They're the guys that you can call on if you need them. It's kind of like calling the A-team, right? Think of them as the A-team or the subcontractors, right? These are the guys that you call on if you need help with a relationship or help with finances or help with medical conditions or whatever. You call on specialists to try to boost up whatever support you're already getting. So you've got this inner band that's always with you, and you've got this subcontractor group that you can call on for special in this. And I see Gloria's joining us. So hi, Gloria. Great having you here again. But yeah, so this is really sort of the concept of just think of it. You're always working with a spirit team, and you've always got this team always around you. So always call on your spirit team. They're always there. And that's really sort of the way to think about it. They're always with you. You've always got the people that are right next to you. Those are the people that are really focused on you, right? So who are these spirit guides? Who's on your spirit team, and what are they made up of? Well, you may know that they all start out with sort of what's referred to as the master guide. He's kind of like the director, right? The director of the orchestra, right? The person who's setting up all this dissonant activity, brings it all together. He orchestrates everything into one harmonious piece, right? He's the director of your whole team. What he's doing is he's basically teaching you soul lessons. He's helping you to gather all the information, and he's bringing certain people in that you need so that you can be the most inspired, you can learn the most, you can gain the most. And he's the one who's going to be kind of bumping you and subtly giving you hints and saying, look at this direction, or you might consider that thing, right? And he's really trying to inspire you. He's trying to help you fulfill your soul's destiny. If you recall, we're all here as part of a soul contract, part of a soul path. We come here trying to learn different lessons, and we want to learn these different lessons by undergoing specific experiences that we plan far in advance. And as we go through this, that's our sort of our soul path, and that's really what the quote unquote destiny is, because the destiny is nothing more than staying on that soul path, right? So that's really where you're going, and that's why your guides are trying to help you stay on that path. So that's really the master guide. Think of him as master of ceremonies, the director of your whole team, okay? So the next guide to think about is I'll call him the protector guide, or the gatekeeper. Think of him as the bouncer of your team, right? This gatekeeper guide is going to essentially protect you when you need protection. He's going to, keep out the lower energies, the energies that don't serve you. It's going to try to protect you from either lower or harmful spiritual beings, or even or people who are kind of mean and nasty. They're going to try to help you see that that's not part of you. And it's also going to, if let's say you're a spiritual worker, let's say you're a light worker, right? Then what they'll also do is they'll also take you from your spiritual perspective and make sure that you're not encountering lower level energies, because you just call on your spirit team, you call on that gatekeeper, and then the next thing you know, you're finding yourself being very protected. And oftentimes you'll see that these gatekeeper guides are coming in as very strong people. They're seen as very indigenous people, sometimes Native American guides. You can see them with quite a heritage. You'll see them strong. Sometimes you'll see them with armor. Sometimes you'll see them with a shield of some kind, or you'll see them, pretty tough and stern. Sometimes you might see them as like a wolf. Sometimes you might see them as a panther, some kind of tough animal that's going to be a part of a pack, and also part of like a protector that's going to be a protector outside, right? So just think of it that way. Very symbolic. So these are some of the things you can kind of consider. You may have felt, some people call it like a guardian angel. The guardian angels may exist, but certainly it's certainly going to be at least your gatekeeper, if not your guardian angel. Guardian angels may have some other specific purpose. I'm not an angel expert by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm not even going to pretend I know what I'm talking about with guardian angels, other than what we all know. But spirit, that's a whole different story. The gatekeepers are very important, and those are people that I am aware of. And so who's another part of your team? Another part of your team is a messenger, or what I refer to as a message bearer. These kind of guides are the sort of guides that help you to find information quickly, help you go get information, find information, understand information quickly. Let's say you are trying to get information and you're racking your brain. How do I go get that? Ask your message guide. Your message bearer is going to find that. He's going to go out with a message. Think of a messenger, right? Like somebody on a winged horse. Oftentimes you can see them as a fast runner, sometimes as a hawk, sometimes as an eagle, because these are animals and or people who can go places fast. So if you think of somebody who is fast, like a sprinter, you'll see him with like winged feet. Who knows? The point is that these are people who can get that information out there and get it to you fast, and so that's really what's so important. And then another member of your team are healing guides, and these are really important guides, and you've probably all kind of felt these guides in your life. They're going to help you with spiritual, emotional, and your physical health, right? They're going to be the people who are often seen either as shamans or maybe Native Americans. These are going to be people that are working with your spiritual health, your energy, your emotion, your subtle bodies, and you call on these guides for your own health, for the health of other people. And these are people who are always bringing healing. They're healing guides. So if you see somebody surrounded by the color green, green is the healing color. That's coming from your heart chakra. It's also associated with love, but with a healing guide, that's very much of a healing property, and they're associated with the color green in the heart chakra. So just think of your healing guides as being very important to you. Another member of your team, which I love, are joy guides. And the whole concept of a joy guide is to help you raise your energy, make you feel wonderful, to feel that upliftment, right? It's really trying to boost your spirits. Pardon the pun there, but it's the whole concept is when you're down in the dumps and you're feeling kind of glum, you're feeling kind of ho-hum, you're feeling kind of low, the joy guide tries to step in and make you feel wonderful, because life is meant to be enjoyed. Life is meant to be full of joy and happiness, and the joy guides often come in to make you understand that, make you aware of it, make you feel that. And they're often going to come in as these innocent little bubbly happy children, right? And that you can't help but smile when you see them. There's a great story. When I first met my joy guide, I was in my office typing away, getting into a real funk, and somehow I remember all of a sudden hearing the name Priscilla in my head. I'm like, Priscilla? Who's Priscilla? I hadn't, yeah, I hadn't heard that name in like forever. You don't hear that name anymore. I'm like, what? Who is Priscilla? What's Priscilla? And I started feeling really strange. So I started looking up Priscilla, like Googling Priscilla, and it blew my mind as I hit enter on Google. All of a sudden, this child's face of like this little child laughing, blonde hair, a dandelion in her ear, in the grass, just absolute. And it was the exact image I had in my head. I'm like, this this is beyond coincidence. Of course, we all know that there is no such thing as coincidence, but the synchronicity was uncanny. It blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, that's my joy guide. And I knew it instinctively. It was incredible. And immediately after that, I was smiling, I was laughing, and I was like, okay, this is great. So that's what a joy guide is. So when you feel a sudden upliftment, when you feel joy, and know that that's your joy guide trying to work with you. Conversely, if you feel yourself in the dumps and you want an upliftment, go call on your joy guide and say, oh, God, help me. Joy guide, where are you? And oftentimes you'll feel this incredible innocence, this incredible happiness, this incredible feeling of just suddenly getting lifted in the clouds and suddenly happy, and you're just going to feel wonderful. So that's really something that you can really work on. Just think about your joy guides. I think you'll enjoy them. I do. That was after, of course, I started realizing what they were and actually believing them. But that was a whole other story. Another member of your team I kind of put these two together, are your teacher and or philosophy guides. Oftentimes, your teacher guides are your philosophy guides and vice versa. These are guides that are going to help you with your soul's growth. They're going to really kind of get you to a point where you're able to look at books, look for higher learning, maybe go to classes. You're going to experience life lessons. They're going to direct you to where you need to learn more, either in life lessons, books, classes, whatever it is. They're the ones that are going to be trying to teach you. As you go through life, there are going to be ones giving you that push. They're also going to give you incredible wisdom. Sometimes you're just going to get that spark of wisdom. You're like, wow, what an incredible piece of information. That was so wise. Thank you. That's often your teacher and or wisdom. You're often your philosophy guide, right? So these are people who are going to be there with you, trying to let you grow, help you grow, give you insightful and profound ideas. Sometimes these are people who are used to be, writers, renowned thinkers, right? These are all, these are great people. So, when you get inspired, when you get a wonderful piece of wisdom, know that's who's bringing it to you. It's your teacher and or philosophy guide. So think about that, right? Who else? We've got, the chemist's guide. This is somebody who is working on your specific energy, your specific chemical composition, and all of the different chemical and energetic makeup of your subtle energy bodies. These are going to be they work very much with your healing guides, because it's your healing guides as well as your chemist guides who are going to be working together, because chemist guides are working on your your healing guides are going to be working on your physical healing. So one's like a doctor, one's like your pharmacist. So it's kind of like that combination. It's a combination of, like, you say you go to a doctor writes out a prescription, and he says go to the pharmacist to fill it. So that's that same combination. They work together. They work in tandem. So often when you get a healing guide, you're going to be connected to a chemist guide as well. So they're working together a lot. So that's really sort of your spirit team. And those are the people that are working with you. Those are the guides that are there all the time. Those are the things that you should be thinking about and receiving all the time. So understand that that's what you're working with, who's working with you, and you've got a giant team that's always there, always by your side. And all you got to do is ask, stretch out your arms, stretch out your mind, and when you ask, you will receive, and it's quite tremendous when you start getting this information. So I hope that was helpful for understanding who your guides are, where they are, how they interact with you. And oftentimes you'll be getting information that you just don't realize. Maybe you'll be thinking, "Gosh, I'm getting this sixth sense in the back of my mind, and it's telling me to do something I'm not aware of." And if it's really, really, really subtle, so quiet that you can barely hear it, that's probably your guide. If it's really, really loud and really obnoxious and really like, oh, I don't want to hear that, that's probably your ego mind, because how many times does your ego mind interfere and try to control? That's its job. The ego mind's role is to take control, to make sure that you're in charge, so the ego mind stays in charge. So if you start hearing a voice that's very controlling, very demanding, very obnoxious, then guess what? That's your ego mind. But if you're feeling something and hearing something that's really quiet, really subtle, so subtle that you are easily ignoring it, that's going to be a spirit guide. So that's a quick way that you can differentiate between your ego mind, your imagination, and your spirit guides who are trying to connect with you. Just a quick, 2-second way of figuring that out. So I hope that helps. You guys have any questions? Type of questions in the chat. I'd love to hear what your questions are about spirit guides today, because it's all good. No questions off limits. Love to connect with you all. I see that clearly, as Claire was saying, there are no coincidences, as I was talking about before. But also that and Gloria was saying she was directed here. Yes, because that's the whole thing. It's like, that was one of your teacher and or philosophy guides who was saying, we're going to be teaching you things. We're going to be trying to get you information. So, let me know more information. I'm glad I was able to share everything with you. One of the things that I've got coming up next week, I've got 2 classes coming up online, both at 6 o'clock. One's on Tuesday, one's at Wednesday. So the Wednesday one's going to kind of preempt this broadcast. But what it is it's basically a big class helping you to expand your intuition and spiritual awareness. And here's kind of like sort of an infographic of what it is. It's how to improve your intuition and spiritual awareness. It's 3 simple steps. It's a master class. And it's, let me see if I can type in the chat, or actually if I can add something here. It's the link is sda dot class. Well, anyway, I'll get the link out to you later on. Right? It's a great class. It'll be out there. Take a look for it. You've probably seen the emails already. It'll also be in the show notes down below. It's on Tuesday and it's on Wednesday, and it's at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you got any questions, just let me know. Hope you guys are getting some good information from all this. If you want to reach out and contact me, just shoot me an email at chris@montclairmedium.com. That's also maybe if you want to find out the contact information or the sign-up information for those 2 classes. They're free. Just shoot me an email and I'll let you know what the registration information is for that. And if you guys are finding value, if you guys are getting information, good value from this, then by all means go down below, and subscribe. That way you'll always be alerted to when these broadcasts come out. You won't miss anything. And either like it, subscribe, and if you're finding value, and hope to see you again. You guys have any questions? I would love to answer them. If you don't have any questions, what I will do is I will see you either this coming Tuesday and or Wednesday for this upcoming class, or I will see you the next time that I am on. And again, just subscribe and or just send me an email, and I'll look forward to connecting with you later. And until then, This is Chris Lippincott sending you love and light, and I will see you later. Bye for now.